Talk about the past of girls and how it can affect our relationship and how to reach her past out of her mouth.
Well, a good thing to start, especially the first date, ideally, or maybe even on the phone when you're vetting, is just ask her how her relationship is with her parents. Is she close to her parents? Is she close to her dad? And because just typically, it doesn't mean in all cases, but typically girls that come from broken homes or they have a bad relationship with their dad or they're estranged for whatever reason or they never knew their dad, they're just going to be more difficult to deal with. They typically aren't very chill. Most of them are not willing to get therapy or counseling or do the work on themselves to help them overcome the fact that dad wasn't around, because oftentimes they have a hard time knowing which men to trust or trusting men versus a girl that grows up with a very strong father and she knows how to identify a good man and knows how to be in a decent relationship compared to somebody that's going to come from a broken home. And so it's going to be much easier and to date a woman typically that's easygoing, easy to get along with if she's got a good relationship with her dad and her mom and the rest of the family, because however the family is typically how she's going to show up. If she doesn't respect the father, or if she walks all over him, treats him like dirt, manipulates him, whatever, the mother walks all over the father, then the woman she thinks that way, she expects that way. That's how she typically interacts with the world. And so it makes it's difficult to be in a relationship with women that are like that. Doesn't mean all of them are that you can't have a good relationship with them, but unless they've done a lot of self-help or therapy or tried to help themselves, it's because the other thing that happens is, especially through our 20s and 30s, usually we're all trying to overcome the trauma of our childhood. We're trying to overcome the limiting beliefs and the things, the value system sometimes that was imposed by our family or our parents or society or where we grew up. Maybe your parents were very strict and ultra religious, and then you tend to rebel against those kinds of things. So a big indicator of how easygoing, easy to get along with she's going to be is having a good relationship with a father who acts like a man. Not just she loves her father, but manipulates the shit out of him. He's actually a dude that acts like a man, whose wife respects him, who talks to him and is sweet, and they get along and they communicate well. And her and any sisters she may have or siblings have, that the dad acts like a man. Because even if they have a tight family, if the guy's a pushover, if he's too much of a nice guy, if the woman runs the household, then the girl typically tends to be in her masculine, and it's hard for them to be submissive and feminine and let you take the lead. So you want to proceed with caution. But like I said, the best way to find out is just, hey, tell me about your family. What's your relationship with your parents like? Or are you close to your dad? And see what she has to say. I've just found in my own life, it's like women that come from good families that have good relationships with their mom and dad, and the dad is the man of the family. They're pretty balanced. They're pretty easy to get along with, pretty easy to date, pretty easy to have a relationship with. But the more screwed up her background is, it's communication's more difficult. They typically tend to be moodier and just more difficult in general to be around, and life is hard enough. You want a woman that adds value to your life, not one that just dumps a truckload of problems on you and is always giving you a hard time.
I mean, there's that thing with family, but I think what this guy is trying to go about with his question, I think it has to do with what he's trying to say is like his past with past girls he's been with and her past with guys that she's been with. Because I feel like, especially on first dates, that's definitely like one of the very few questions that guys ask the girl. And I think, especially on the first date, it's something you shouldn't focus on until later on.
What shouldn't
I agree.
Yeah, where it's
I don't
like
think it's something that you should be bringing up on the first date.
what?
Past relationships.
like past relationships.
You should not be bringing up past relationships on a first date.
Yeah,
It's
ideally.
not a topic like, hey, so tell me about your exes. Tell me about what went wrong in all of your relationships, and tell me how they all just went to shit.
You don't know like what is gonna come out of their mouth. They can literally say, "Oh, I cheated on so and so in the past. Oh, I've done this in the past," and you're not gonna like
every
it.
single person cheated on me.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to hear that.
You don't
And
wanna hear
I don't
that,
think
and
that
that's like-
people are going to be that honest about those things, especially on
Sometimes
a
they
first
are.
date.
Yeah, exactly.
If they've
I
been
don't-
cheated on by every boyfriend, usually it means they're bad at selecting, and also oftentimes they're cheaters as well because like attracts like.
At the end of the day, when you're out on a first date, you're getting to know that person. Like everything else will follow through eventually as the relationship progresses. But, you know, it's like you don't want to play yourself on the first date by asking that question. You know, because that, you know, the past shouldn't have to define that person.
Correct.
Maybe that person grew out of what they've done in the past, or maybe they've
People
learned
grow.
about, yeah, exactly.
People evolve.
Yeah, exactly. So you learn those things, and if you know what comes out of her mouth is, "Oh, I cheated on my last boyfriend," you're not gonna like that. Maybe she learned from
She
it.
belongs in the streets.
You should
Maybe-
be talking about positive things. On
Exactly.
The first date.
True, but obviously if it comes up and she's like, you know, say how, hey, have you ever been cheated on? Or have you ever cheated on anybody? That comes up. I mean, that's something in the vetting process you want to know. Is she a loyal, faithful woman? Because the number one thing to us guys in relationships is loyalty. Is she going to be loyal and faithful, or is she going to continue to act like she's single even when you're in a relationship with her, giving out her phone number, hanging out with male friends, and one-on-one, or going out with dudes to dinner one-on-one late at night, or going to the club and stuff like that. I just did a video newsletter the other day. A guy's a surgeon, and he and his fiance moved to a new city in Europe, and she moved with him. They're planning a future together, and yet they went out one night, and he met this male friend that she works with, and along with one of his friends were out, had a beer, and she's like, let's go to the club, and he's like, I got to get up early. I got surgery in the morning. And she's like, well, I want to go out clubbing. And he's like, okay. So she goes out clubbing and comes home, and he's like, I don't like that. It's like, you're going hanging out to go clubbing with a single guy from the office and his single friend. It's that, a lady doesn't do that. A woman, you want to be the mother of my children. We're gonna have kids, and hey, where's your mom? Oh, she's out at the nightclub VIP tables at 2 a.m. It's like that's not somebody that you're is ready to have kids, and it's definitely not a woman that sees. Because if a woman's in love with you and you're like, I'm tired, let's go home, she's gonna come home with you. And she's like, oh, I want to go to the club with these guys I work with. It's like, she's not that into you. She doesn't highly value the relationship. If a girl's in love with you, she'd rather come home and cuddle and spend time with you. And if she'd rather go clubbing, it's because she wants to go out and potentially meet somebody new. Because it's like those that type of guy, even though she claims he's a beta male and everything, it was part of the email. It's like that type of dude's trying to fly under the radar. He's even meeting the guy that says, oh, I'd like to meet your fiance. Hang out with him, try to make him put him at ease. But in the same token, he's texting his fiance at 10 o'clock at night saying, hey, I need to go eyeglass shopping tomorrow. Will you go with me? And inviting her to do things. So he's trying to put the husband at ease. Oh, hey, I'm just a harmless friend. When in reality, it's like he's texting her constantly, and she's enjoying the conversation and inviting him to continue texting her, even though she's engaged and living with her surgeon fiance. And yet, when you look at her actions, she's acting like a chick that's interviewing potential replacements. Like she's still single. A woman who wants to have kids and be a family is not going to be more focused on going out and clubbing and hanging out with single dudes from the office.
How I see it, the only way you're going to find out that person's true colors is like, as Corey has mentioned before, within the 90-day window or after 90 days. But besides that, like,
people can hide who they are for about the first 90 days.
Yeah.
That's 100% true.
Yeah.
I was just telling Erica that the
We
other
were talking
day.
about that.
Yeah, like I've wondered. I'm like, these relationships that I've had before, like they haven't like lasted more than 3 months, and I'm like, it's true. It's freaking true. Like everybody, some people show their colors.
Yeah, you met a lot of
before then.
frogs over the last year. Before you finally found
It's
a prince.
literally each one has been like 3 months, and I'm like, or it's 2. Some of them show after 1
They
month.
seem good out of the gate.
Yeah.
And then the reality comes
Then
in.
they end up effing up after like a couple weeks. I'm just
But
like,
that's the point.
You're done effed up.
The only way you're gonna know is if you progress in the relationship. That's how you're gonna know. And eventually, like, say if that person is a habitual cheater, you will find out eventually. Like, people are not they're not
Like
masters.
they're just gonna cheat once; they'll cheat again and again.
Yeah,
And again.
and people aren't master liars. Like, someone who is smart, like there's no such thing as someone who's smart when it comes to their lies. Like lies come out eventually.
Yeah, and most women, we're investigators.
Yeah.
We
We feel
are
something in
FBI,
our
CIA
gut,
agents.
we will figure that shit
There's
out, and
memes
we
about
will.
it and everything.
If we have it in our gut, like most of the time, it is like it's there, and we will find it.
We will know.
Yeah.
And we will find out for sure.
Yeah.
That little
We'll get to the
that little
bottom of
girl
it
that
every
you
time.
you seen at the mall, we'll find her too.
Yeah, there's memes about it and everything.
A woman's intuition is never wrong. And if we have the slightest inclination that something fishy's happening, we're probably right.
Put a low jack on your car.
I don't go that far. I'm not that invested. I mean, I don't.
Apple, like you can do that with an AirTag now, right?
Yeah.
There's no point. But I mean, to each their own. If I feel like there's someone who I'm investing my time in and they are going to be doing something shady like that, I'll approach the situation. I'll discuss it, and if I look them in the eyes and I see that they're not being faithfully honest, or just they're dodging questions or answers and stuff like that, then I know deep down that they're a liar, and I know my value. I'm not going to disrespect myself, and I'm not going to disrespect my time. So on to the next at that point.
Oh heck no! I'm gonna be sneaky as shit about it, and then I'm gonna
Well,
make
that
sure
doesn't mean
before
that-
I ask
be
It
him.
doesn't
sneaky
mean that I'm
shit.
not going to get to the bottom of it. I
I'm gonna
will
get in
find
your
the
phone.
answers, and I will find
The
out.
answers
his
will come out
email.
eventually, one way or another. Whether or not you're looking for them,
Well,
they're
sa-
still gonna come out.
The saying is that the truth will come out in the
Yeah.
wash, and it
It'll
always
set
does.
you free.
Well, yes, but the truth comes out in the wash, so everything does just clean itself. So I have always found the truth at the end, and I'm at peace. I don't know if everybody else is at peace, but I know I am. I sleep well at night.
Peace be with you,
Peace, bro.
and also with you.